What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports, I guess daily. It's like the fifth podcast we've done today. CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. It is Thursday, September 29th, and we are doing something new. You might get an alert if you're watching on YouTube. I'm assuming this will not be actually on the audio feed. This will just be YouTube leading up to the game, a little pregame show, talk some bets, talk some picks, talk some DFS. And joining me to do so, a man who is now being wrangled into PM shows to preview the games, which I guess is probably better. Tyler Sullivan, aka Sully. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, Will? How you doing?
I prefer this versus like 11 a.m. when we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even really think we do that. Like, usually you and I are like 1 p.m. Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, this is the flip from what we did last year.
Yeah.
Makes so much more sense to do it this way.
Right. It's like, probably because Billy's in charge now and Debo is in charge.
100%. This is a total plus minus Billy and Debo. I mean, that's just, it's exactly what it is.
All these little jokes I'm getting in are hilarious until like Debo ascends to this like ascends to some like higher role in the company and just fires me. Like doesn't even fire me or like makes me be the podcast producer.
Yeah. As we talked about on the mailbag, you don't have many other options. So
how the turntables.
Many other options for
careers.
Oh, for jobs after this. Yeah.
Right.
I did actually go see my buddy Chip, who sells booze, and I was like, we were talking about like swapping jobs for like 9 months or something, just because. So I mean, actually, I'm curious. We'll get to the game in a second, but I am curious. So Brad, the guy, our listener, podcast listener, who joined the mailbag, was asking us, "Do you guys ever get burnt out? Or like, do you get you cover football for a living? Do you ever feel like, is it like always like fresh and exciting and new?" And I'm just being honest. Like the longer you do it, the easier it is, I think, to get burned out on it. I'm curious, you've covered football for a long time, but like, I'm curious, just, you haven't done it for like 12 years, like at CBS. Yeah. Like, are you like, do you ever feel like you're like,
yeah, this is year 4, season 4 for me at CBS.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this at the old site and everything like that. I think since like 2016 or whatever it is. So, for a decent bit. Yeah. I think I get gassed like right around like now, just because I'm like not used to like the late nights and all that stuff. But then you eventually get into a swing of it by like week 8, and
I'm saying like Patriots game, like the Patriots are playing the Packers on, is that Sunday?
It's a 4 p.m. 4:30, whatever. Yeah,
probably on CBS. What's your like excitement level leading into that game? And maybe it's different too with the Patriots not being great.
Oh yeah, no, I'm very desensitized to like, all my friends are like super huge Patriots fans and all that stuff. Yeah. I'm pretty desensitized. It's not even like, I guess we have to say that we're trying to keep a journalistic integrity or whatever. It's not even that. You're just kind of like desensitized. You're just like, all right, like,
Yeah, I just don't like, I don't care. Like Wilson's like, Brinson's a Panthers fan. I'm like, I really don't like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go on a rant about the Panthers. And I think some of the stuff they do is, like, I'm happy if they yeah, I'm desensitized.
Like I don't like, I obviously do it, but I don't necessarily love talking about like football to my friends when they want to talk about football, because I feel like I'm working. You know what I mean? Like it's
you get it
weird, but that's true.
I pulled that on somebody. This is like I think I was. Oh no, I didn't say it to somebody. I said it like afterwards because they'd left, and like I was telling a good friend of mine. I was like, I don't like this guy. This guy's like me. So what do you think? Like, what do you think about the Bills? Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, what do you think about commercial real estate? Hey, what's the deal on the mortgage loan rate and the average, like, it's like, why are you asking me these questions? Exactly.
I'll give you a great example really quickly, because I obviously want to talk about the game, but this happens to me every single time I go see my doctor. He's the greatest guy, super chill dude. He knows what I do. And so I feel like in my appointment, I'm working more than he is actually working. I'm like, can you just tell me if I'm healthy or not? Like, is that cool?
He's like
huge Raiders fan. He's all about it.
Is Amron St. Brown going to play this weekend?
Exactly.
And you're like, I don't know. What is my answer impact? Like, you're like, you're
nicest dude in the world, but he is very interested in the NFL, and I'm more interested in me in that moment.
No, it is. And like, most of the time you don't mind talking about it, but it's because everybody likes talking about football.
Yeah.
Like I was playing golf with my buddy Jeff yesterday on Wednesday before the BQ FPS, and I had to do a radio hit in Seattle with my guys Chuck and Buck, and I was like, listen guys, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to do this hit. I will do my best to like not F up your golf game and, to talk and like away from it.
Yep.
And he was like, in Seattle, really? He's like, my dad lives in Seattle. He's like a huge like sports fan. I was like, well, he definitely listens to KJR. So like I got on there, I was like, shout out Jeff, yeah, he's like not Jeff Hayes, but I was like, shout out his dad, and he called him. He's like, why is this guy yelling my name, Greg Hayes? Like, why is he yelling Greg Hayes on the radio? Which I like doing that. Anyway, let's now that we've got what was it called earlier, the obligatory small talk out of the way.
Yep,
I actually like the obligatory small talk.
I would argue it's the best part of the podcast.
I would too. It's certainly better than our analysis of.
I mean, absolutely.
What do you want to start? What do we want to start with here? Let's just talk about the game in general, I guess. It's a we've got. I was watching the Amazon pregame show just recently. By the way, Ryan Fitzpatrick's very good at this.
Yeah.
He's very good on the set. Enjoying him.
I thought you were going to say he's very good at the ukulele because that was going viral. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Him and Tua Tagovailoa were playing ukuleles together. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Love a good ukulele. Tua is good to go, right?
Yep. Well, he's active. He's active.
So is it a back and an ankle injury? I think the ankle injury is the bigger problem.
Yeah, back, ankle, and maybe concussion.
I mean, if they didn't put him in concussion protocol, I mean, I agree with you, but it's like if they didn't put him in concussion protocol, then I don't think we have to worry about it too much. No weather issues here. It's really pretty much everybody's kind of good to go. Waddle's good to go, right? Tua's good to go.
Waddle's active. Everybody's good to go. I think even like the Bengals only listed like 4 players on their inactive list. So there's really no huge surprises. Everybody that we thought was going to be in question is in. So
okay. All right. So where's your head on this game? I'll go and tell you that I like the Bengals laying the points. I think the fact that the Dolphins had 91 snaps against them last week on a short week in Miami, now traveling. It's just a tough spot to be in. And Burrow, to me, in week 3 showed, I think similar to last year, that, he started out slow. They were trying to kind of manage it. Didn't want to like be too aggressive with how they, like moving Burrow around, kind of that ACL. I think they were the same way with the appendectomy, or at least he struggled because of the burst appendix. And now it looks like he might be back. The Dolphins defensive line should in theory be tired again. 91 snaps against the Bills offense. And now that's sort of where you would want to attack is the Bengals offensive line. And so I kind of like the Bengals in the spot.
Yeah. I mean, everything in my head is saying exactly what you just said, where it's like, they just had so many players, the quarterbacks banged up, but for some reason my gut's saying that the Dolphins somehow figure this thing out. And maybe they don't win outright, but they definitely cover. You take the 4 points here for me. And
so you're on the Dolphins.
I'm on the Dolphins tonight. And
RJ White said on the pick show, he just mentioned he liked the Dolphins except for the fact that the timing in the game and like the game situation, like
that was Sunday. I would feel very, very good, but it's a lean for me. I would take the Dolphins here. And one of the things that I thought was interesting is, the Bengals, they scored, I believe it was 13 points off 4 turnovers last week. I mean, they didn't necessarily need that to win the football game, and credit to them for taking advantage of it. But I don't know if even a banged up Tua Tagovailoa, I don't know if he's going to turn the ball over that much. I don't know if this Dolphins team under Mike McDaniel is going to be sloppy with the football to the point where you're talking about multi-turnover, double-digit point swings like the Bengals benefited from last week. Like you said, the defense being gassed for 90 plays last week, that scares the living crap out of me. But for some reason, I don't know if I still feel like the Dolphins will be able to figure this thing out, because Tua, it's not like he has to be this superhuman type of guy.
It is a point guard.
Exactly. Be your Rajon Rondo and a Celtics 2008 championship team. Give it to Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett and move along. Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, yards after the catch. That's basically all he needs to do. And so that's kind of why I don't necessarily put as much stock in his injuries as I would maybe another quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, the same thing with Jimmy Garoppolo's banged up, right? You're not freaking out. And that's not a Jimmy G Tua comparison. That is a Mike McDaniel, Kyle Shanahan comparison. You're talking about the offenses they run are obviously quite similar. And I mean, I understand the logic of the Dolphins. I wrote actually the whole thing for me is I'm prepared for the Dolphins to go 17-0 And like I'm just picking against them the entire way. And it's like they're sort of because they are sort of luck boxing a little bit. I'm not trying to criticize the Dolphins. I think they're a good team. They found ways to win, but each of their first 3 games have just some anomalies about them where it's like, for instance, the Eagles came out. The only 2 teams are 3-0, right?
Mhm.
Eagles and the Dolphins. The Eagles have flexed on 3 opponents. Maybe those opponents weren't great, but they flexed on them. It was like a very clear, okay, this is how we're winning. The Dolphins, I'm not saying the Dolphins are smoke and mirrors. I'm just saying that there were 2, the 2 scores against the Patriots. And then you have the crazy comeback against the Ravens. You're down 28-7.5. You have a butt punt, which I guess, like probably should have killed you. Josh Allen can't convert in the red zone. The overall team statistics from that game, it doesn't make sense that the score would be 21-19. So that's my only thought process there. Is that Miami,
which is something that
maybe they just know how to win.
Yeah, that's what Breach and I talked about earlier this week. It was, does water find its level with this Miami Dolphins team where do they just kind of have that in them where they just kind of find ways to win, or are they just getting lucky and this thing's about to turn on its head really quick? I mean, that's still what's up in the air right now. For me, I'm going to lean a little bit more towards they just kind of find ways to win with Mike McDaniel, and that's just they're kind of unlocking something right now, kind of gritty to begin this season. But
the Bengals get Jermaine Pratt and Lyle Collins back too. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. But, and so for me, again, I'm just leaning a little bit more on the Dolphins here. It's not like a slam dunk type of bet, but I am leaning taking the 4 points here just because I don't think that this injury for Tua Tagovailoa, obviously he's playing tonight, but it doesn't impact this Dolphins offense as a typical injury would to a quarterback on a different offense.
I think that one of the things too with this entire week really is that you sort of look at all these games, you're like, man, so it's at 4, total at 49 right now at Caesars. I think this whole week is full of these games could go either way type of situations.
Yeah.
You can't feel extremely confident about taking very many picks against the spread this week, I don't think.
No,
it starts with this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about some, let's dive into first touchdown score.
Mm-hmm.
I love a first touchdown score. I actually haven't, I need to get mine in. I haven't looked. So we're going to do these live as we go on the fly. It's not difficult to do, in my opinion, because I think you can look at these and figure out very quickly who might be some good options. Oh, look at that. Good job. That's got to be, couldn't possibly be Devo. It was too fast. So my God, these odds stink. No,
yeah.
Vince.
I
was thinking Hayden Hurst would be like 25-1. And Hayden Hurst is 12-1. That's where I'd start my card there is Hayden Hurst. I'm not touching any of these dudes under 10-1. I mean, that's ridiculous that 6 guys are 7-1 or lower. That is crazy.
I mean, you even have Tua Tagovailoa at 25-1.
Yeah, and Tua, I don't think they'll want to run Tua near the goal line at all. It would need to be sort of a busted play. Okay. I don't really like any of these, actually.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, going back to last year, if you've been following the ones that were earlier. Typically, we like to look over 10-1 for first touchdowns, and we've talked about this a bunch. We don't need to get into it again, but the books have certainly
they've shrunk the odds completely. Like,
yeah.
Okay, you're trying to predict who the first touchdown scorer is. That is hard to do. Now, and Caesars is not listed like any of the defenses, or am I looking at the wrong thing? No, it's this first touchdown. I was like,
yeah, no, you're right.
I thought it was like anytime. Those odds are not. I wouldn't. I'm not betting. The only one I might look at is Hayden Hurst at 12-1. Doesn't even feel fair either, though. Hayden Hurst should be like 20-1. All right, I'll tell you what. Here's what I would do if I'm betting at Caesars with these odds. I'm just putting like a quarter unit on Hayden Hurst and Mike Gesicki each. I think tight ends are an easy spot. You get some decent value. I don't think they're going to call red zone plays for Burrow. I don't think they'll call red zone plays for Tua. You have guys with injuries. It would be foolish, I think. Samaje Perine is a guy at 35-1. I would take a flyer on because he's a passing down back and he rips one off. But at 19-1,
yeah. Because I mean that's who I was going to point out too. Again, 19-1. It's nothing. It's really not the best value in the world. Yeah. And this is something that we'll probably talk about when we hit the props a little bit more. This Dolphins defense gave up a ton of receiving yards last week to running backs. I'm trying to see if I have it somewhere. It was 143 receiving yards.
Felt like
to
Devin
backs
Singletary
last
was
week.
catching everything. James
Singletary,
Cook.
Moss even had a catch for a decent chunk. James Cook had a bunch. The fullback even did stuff. I mean, it was really a weak spot for them. So maybe that's, again, a spot to attack there in the, maybe not in the first touchdown market here with P. Ryan, but again, later on, if we hit the props, maybe that's somewhere we look.
I see a no touchdown score of 170-1 on a domestic book that I cannot speak about. I don't think it's crazy. Yeah, I'd be pretty unlikely to win a touchdown in this game, right? Yeah, I don't really like any of those ones inside of that.
I have Caesars 40-1, no touchdown.
Yeah, that's probably too short.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to some props. Go down a little bit further and see if we have anytime touchdown score. Yeah, Yay Area 415 ask about Tua Tagovailoa. Tyreek Hill. So keep going down. You went too far. It's player to score a touchdown. Tyreek Hill plus 121. Yeah, Tyreek Hill to score a touchdown plus 170 with the smack he's been talking about Eli Apple. Yeah, I think that's an absolute automatic bet. If Tyreek Hill at plus money to score a touchdown is crazy.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love that. And his odds have been moving because I obviously write the previews for some of these games every week. Yep. And last week I had his last night I had his total receiving yards. It was 70.5. I think it's moved up almost 10 yards to 70. 77.
Wow.
Last I checked. So it's moved quite a bit.
All right. So what are some of the props you like that you looked at when you saw it when you were doing the preview?
So last night I had, and this is why I knew the P. Ryan stuff right away. Joe Mixon's total receiving yards is 21.5. It was minus 127. I think it's the same, but I think the odds are different. I don't think you're getting it at minus 127, but he's averaging 6.6 targets per game this season. And like I said, the Dolphins last week, 143 yards receiving to opposing backs, collectively. He's going to be involved in the passing game. He is a 3-down back, even though I know we have P. Ryan to worry about here, but that is not a huge chunk that he needs to really, come out to. I don't think that this is anything that he is incapable of doing whatsoever. Even on a slow night, I think Mixon can get this. So that one to me, I really liked.
Okay. So Mixon over receiving yards.
Yep.
Let's go look at some receiving yards. See, it looks like they have the offerings are a little shorter here.
So you know what I think it was? Because
is it because of the Jalen Waddle and Tua?
It was Waddle and Tua. So last night it was really slim pickings. Like I think Tua had maybe one. Yeah, he had one prop. It was just his passing yards up. So they were coming out really slow to figure out what, obviously what his status was. I think it changed this morning a little bit when it was a little bit more definitive with reports coming out that he was going to play or at least give it a go. But even last night when it was, questionable, I think things were still pretty reserved.
Yeah, over 77.5, I think is a fine look for Tyreek Hill too.
Yeah. I think so.
This is a guy, he's one of the most explosive. He's been running his mouth. And Tyreek Hill doesn't usually run his mouth and expect to get shut down. I know that's just generally speaking, like I would be surprised if he, what didn't come to play in the prime time. Like he has very clearly, I think, made it known, with all the stuff he said about Tua and, just how I like hyping up Tua when we got to the Dolphins and the fact that he, this is, I don't know. It's just like, he's like a big time team player. And I think he understands that if he performs really well in Miami, like he's justifying the trade. This, the team's 3-0. They have good vibes around him. He can kind of do what he wants. Feels like he has a lot more freedom. Like not like Andy Reid restricted him, but sort of like Tom Brady getting to Tampa. Like he can sort of be the face of this team.
Yeah,
and I think he's enjoying that. And I think he has a big game in prime.
Yeah, I'm with you. And like I said, this thing is moved pretty dramatically. Obviously, the quarterback being in and out certainly does that, but it was 70.5 last night when I was doing this. And it was at like 10 at night. I was out last night, so I kind of came back and did that. So
go down.
My mom's birthday. So happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Ma.
So, nah.
And
let's click on those Bengals receiving yards too. Let's look at those.
Yep. But really quickly on Tyreek Hill, again, it's a nice bounce back spot for him too. 4 targets last week, 2 catches. After just getting a huge target share the first 2 weeks, 12.5 targets per game. I think
Oh, he did have a
of
bad
that.
game last week.
It was a really, really slow week for him. So bounce back opportunity for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. We see Higgins over. I mean, what's your thought on the total in this game? 49 is, I feel like, is probably a pretty good number.
Yeah.
It's hard to say because both, I mean, like, are both defenses going to, I don't think both defenses are great. I think they're pretty good. I'm just not sure exactly how, like, I haven't had like a real great theory, like a real great feel on this total all game. And I think it's interesting to look at these numbers because the overs for Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins here at Caesar are juiced to the over, and they're pretty sizable numbers. It's almost like there's an expectation that there might be some slinging of the ball.
Yeah. And so I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about. The Miami defense playing 90-plus plays last week. It feels like Cincinnati might be getting right after getting their first win. And there's still a ton of questions about the Cincinnati secondary, where we think that Tyreek Hill is going to just absolutely destroy Eli Apple. And obviously Jalen Waddle's there too. They have shown the ability to really, blow up when they want to. I think that they're averaging 27.7 points per game, and the Bengals 21.3. I mean, even if you play to those averages, which I think the Bengals would probably score more points than that, especially against this defense, it's a little tired. I think you go over here. Again, I don't know if it's a slam dunk, but it's certainly a lean.
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's also easier just to like lean for the over if you're
that's more fun.
You're watching a primetime game. Yeah. Okay. Let's scroll down, or let's go find rushing yards and pass yards and just touch on those real quickly, and then we'll hit some DFS as well. By the way, if you have any questions about any bets that you're thinking about for this game and you're watching on YouTube, leave them, ask in the comments. We'll happily chat about them. I see most people like the over. Just Jeff is on Waddle over 69.5 receiving yards. Miami team total over 23.5. Man, Joe Mixon. Oh, that's rushing and receiving 92.5 over 133. I think I like the idea of going with Mixon and you do the combo rushing and receiving too.
Yeah, I think that's probably where you're going to live. Because I mean, if I'm loving the over on his receiving yards, and I'm trying to see.
Well, there's two paths you can get there. If the Dolphins are winning, if you think the Dolphins can take a lead and be winning, then you have to worry about Mixon. P. Ryan can get in and catch some passes too. I think the idea of going rushing receiving, like if the Bengals are leading, you can get downhill, and if they're trailing, Mixon will catch some more passes before they bring in P. Ryan for most.
No, I think that's a great point. Again, you're pretty much game script proof on that one with Joe Mixon. So
you would think so, yeah.
You would think, right? I mean, yeah, obviously,
anything can happen.
Who knows what goes on? But again, the prevailing thought would be you can get that no matter really what the score is going to be. Again, I like his receiving potential here tonight because I just think that you look at what the Bills did last week. I don't think Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, James Cook are anywhere in the stratosphere of the ceiling that Joe Mixon can give you on a week in and week out basis.
Sure.
And so if he gets, I don't know, a B+ performance, I think we're talking about him flirting with 100 total yards from scrimmage.
Yeah, and then that gets you pretty easily over that total. The Burrow over 9.5 rushing yards is a little interesting. It's just I don't know how comfortable he's going to be running quite yet.
Yeah,
I feel like they're asking him not to run, although that may not matter for like Burrow. Maybe like I don't care, I'm running anyway.
Yeah, I always get nervous with those two, especially with someone who, I know he runs a little bit, but it's not like he's Jalen Hurts or somebody like that.
Right? No.
And you're talking about at the end of the game. You're talking at the end of the game and kneel down.
This couch cushion he's got on his. What a suit! I mean, I am definitely betting the Bengals now. All right, let's get this in.
Not only that, if we're going looks here, I mean, the white tiger, the white Bengal.
Yeah,
Tonight? I mean, come on. I mean, like if we're going off style, I think the only way that the Dolphins cover is if they go throwback.
Dolphins are all blues though.
Okay, but I need the old school throwback
coloration matchup.
But I need the old school throwback Dolphins, like little dolphin with the helmet, Ace Ventura.
Oh yeah, Ace Ventura style, of course.
That's way better.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I think the Burrow suit. I'm not fading Burrow suit. That's for sure. But yeah, I think most people will be on the Dolphins. I would assume the public will be on the Dolphins. Mixon over rush yards is fine, 64.5. I guess. I mean, nothing. It didn't blow me out of the water. Pass yards up a little bit longer there. We should get.
So I can give you a couple of splits here because Caesars has them.
Yeah, let's see what you got.
Let me see. Hang on. Let me. Oh, and I just lost it. No, I'm sorry. I only have one. Well, this is interesting. 99.7% of the money on Jamar Chase's receiving yards prop is on the over.
That's crazy.
So what is it? Did we talk about Jamar Chase?
Jamar Chase didn't have a big game last week either, right? No, he didn't because he didn't
believe so.
I think it's like Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill go off in prime time is what I'm sort of eyeing here.
So Jamar Chase 73.5 on the over. It's minus 135, and you have 99.7% of the bettors at Caesars Sportsbook going over on that.
Is it and just to be like clear, like those stat, and I'm not dogging.
This is from the Caesars Twitter account, so you just look at their feed. That's what they're tweeting.
Yeah, but I'm saying like those stats, I think are a little more misleading than maybe they used to be. Whereas like it used to be where you could only bet on like a couple spots, and people would be like, you could look at where the money was located, and now I think it's changed a little bit just because there's so many different domestic available spots. Oh, we got here Ramstein Red says first quarter over 10. I don't mind that. I think we see some shot plays early on.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, both of these offenses have guys, like we were just talking about Jamar Chase and Tyreek Hill. You're talking 7 points on one play, pretty much in the blink of the eye. And maybe they test that early. Maybe it's one of those Eli Apple, I'm going to test you early and school you early. Or it's a Jamar Chase, we're going to see how gassed this defense is right out of the gate and go deep.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of that is in play for sure. Okay. Any other props you like? This is not a great prop slate. It should be better. The first touchdown stuff is disappointing. All right. If I'm going to pick two things, I'm going to go over Tyreek Hill receiving yards and Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown. We my picks.
I'm with you on the Tyreek Hill receiving yards. And like I said, I'll just hammer it home again. I think the Mixon over receiving yards for him. But if we really want to do even the total rushing and receiving, I like that as well.
Okay. All right. From a DFS perspective, I cannot get logged in. I'm having some Chrome issue with my to share my DraftKings thing.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out if there's a way that I can saying unexpected error and just like freezing up.
That's always fun.
Yeah. Well, I think it's related to the desktop that I'm operating, the Chrome I'm operating with. So we can sort of just talk about it in loose terms. If anybody has any questions about DFS, I think that I would love to start a lineup with. So I'm on the Bengals, and I'm going to ride that. I think Mixon and Jamar Chase will probably be my primary captains. The one thing about Mixon is they definitely put Samaje Perine in if things get out of hand. So if you think the Bengals can blow them out, Samaje Perine is kind of interesting. If not, you want to stick with Mixon and maybe avoid that combination. Tyreek. So look at the captain spot. The top price guy, Jamar Chase, 16.5. Tyreek Hill, 16.2. Jalen Waddle, 15.3. Burrow, 14.4. Tua, 14.1. Mixon, 13.5. Teddy B. That's because of the Tua stuff. It's 12.6. Higgins, 12.3. Samaje Perine, 11.1. Tyler Boyd, 10.5. And Chase Edmonds, 9.3. If you come down to somebody like a Mixon or a T. Higgins or Perine's kind of an interesting. Nice work. Whoever did that. Billy ain't got no cash in his DraftKings account, unfortunately. Or Devo doesn't. I'm actually glad we didn't show mine because I have a lot of cash in my DraftKings account.
Ooh, not humble brag.
That's not humble brag. I'm just humble brag is if I don't say anything and just toss it up there. It's like, ooh.
Oh, it's like yeah. It's like Deal or No Deal when they put down the briefcase.
Yeah. Well, I had a good. I had the last 2 weeks on Sundays. I had like two, like kind of. Thought something might happen, and then 2 weeks ago it was like, all right, good finish, and then like last week was ended up being terrible.
You download Zillow, you're starting to look around, you're like, all right, it's
I'm like, I what was it? What did I think? I was like, there's something I thought I was like, I know what I'm buying at this thing.
Yeah, there was definitely some Google searches where it's like, all right, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, like hypothetically, if hypothetically speaking, if I was like driving back from my parents and put in these lineups and with my son, and he said, "Hey, put down the phone, focus on the steering wheel." I'm like, "What, buddy? I've got there's a five-figure thing here going on. So I'll buy you another Switch or something." Denny Crane, love it. That's Debo's burner, by the way.
Love
Kyle
it.
Top is a fool. Denny Crane. Do you ever watch Boston Legal? Boston Legal?
I did not. No.
Yeah, it's a terrible show. Denny Crane's an average character at best.
I had a burner. It'd definitely be like a old school CBS show.
Like James Bernard says, "Spot me a couple bucks." But my wife stops. Ask me what's this DraftKings thing on the bank account. Yeah, I don't think so. Sorry, I can't. I don't know if I can toss you a couple bucks right now.
Had things gone differently last week, he would have.
Yeah, if I cashed last week, I would have. If I cashed last week, I'd just buy like, I would buy like Denny Crane's house and burn it to the ground. All right, so if you're looking at captain, what do you think captain wise here?
Well, I got a couple of sports line optimizers here. So I was looking at
special.
Mixon. If you wanted to do Mixon, they have an optimizer here where you go, obviously he's the captain, Joe Burrow, Jalen Waddle, Cincinnati defense, Tua Tagovailoa, and Evan McPherson. So I guess that's a very much, I almost think that you're probably looking at a Bengals get out. Yeah, Bengals blowout.
If you want to go Bengals blowout, I think you need to have P. Ryan in there as well. Just because if the Bengals blow the Dolphins out, I think P. Ryan will get a ton of action. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay.
So I did a Mixon. It's hard to do just a full blown Mixon. Like, God, P. Ryan's so expensive. He will not be owned or rostered, I guess you have to say now.
A lot of the optimizers have Cincinnati's defense in here. I don't know if that means that's a tell or anything, but
I don't think it necessarily like
I don't know if does the computer know more than me? Is that?
Well, the computer is like, no, but it's like, it's able to, I mean, it's just able to like figure out. Well, you got to remember the computer factors in salary and possible reduction and roster rate or whatever the hell we're saying these days. So I got Mixon. All right, let's go Mixon captain.
Mm-hmm.
Debo's going to plug this one in. All right, this is Debo's account with $0.
What is happening here?
If you go Mixon, do you want Burrow, I think, right?
Yeah.
To me, you got to have one decent bring back from Miami. So the question is, do you want to go Tua at 9.4, Tyreek at 10.8, or Waddle at 10.2?
I mean, the safe moves
Tyreek.
Tua.
Right.
Well, safe moves Tua because if
both,
Waddle's going off, then all right, at least you get something in there. But
for sure. The issue is if you go Tua and Waddle will probably lower owned because of the injury issues.
Yeah.
I'll say let's go Tua in there because Tua could get some rushing yards. That's Teddy Bridgewater you're clicking. Yeah, Tua. And then I like the idea of an Evan McPherson option in here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the optimizers hate Samaje Perine.
Yeah. From what I have over here,
They hate Samaje Perine. And then you can actually get Chase Edmonds there at like 4.9 and still be under. So if you go Edmonds and then add Samaje Perine. And that actually works out pretty well for a Bengals lead, Dolphins dumping it off to pass catching back. And obviously if Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle go off, you're not completely screwed because you have Tua, but you're not in great shape because you won't be getting as many points.
Yeah, you're protected there a little bit, but again, this is you're laying the points with Cincinnati. You're thinking that this is going to be their night.
Yeah,
a true.
I like the idea of a they're blowing them out type of game from the Bengals. Do we get Jamar Chase in there or do we not? No.
From an ownership standpoint too, I feel I don't know if this game script is going to be the most. What do you think? Do you think this is the most?
I don't think this will be a heavily owned. No, no, this will not be heavily rostered. Tua and Chase Edmonds are heavily rostered. Burrow's gonna be like 50+%. McPherson will be 20%. But like Captain Joe Mixon should be pretty low. I think there's just so many other options. I don't think people will go to him.
Right. I'm trying to see. Hang on.
P Ryan profiles is a really low option, which is we like.
That's good for us. Yes.
Yeah.
In this regard. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. I wanted to say that Raheem Mostert, did he have more snaps or carries than Chase Edmonds last week?
They have. It looks like we're just captain ownership is going to be spread across the board. It's going to be like Burrow, Chase, Hill, Higgins, Mixon, Tua, all at like 10+%. I think. Total owned. You're looking at Burrow is going to be probably more like 65%. Mixon is number 2. I'm seeing it establish a run. Tua, then Jamar Chase and T Higgins also above 50%.
So I'll tell you this, in terms of our Chase Edmonds, I'm just doing some quick research last week. Yes, Chase Edmonds had the 2 touchdowns, which made him have the better fantasy day, but Raheem Mostert had more carries and had more snaps. He played 56% of the snaps last week. Edmonds was 44% of the snaps.
So if you wanted to, you could even dive in and go, you can go Mostert captain. All right, let's clear that one out. Let's do another lineup. We'll do a couple more before kick. Any other? Yeah,
not even for. I mean, a captain might. I mean, that's a big swing. I mean, if all of a sudden you're talking Raheem Mostert cashing as a captain. You are downloading Zillow and you're looking around.
Right. But I mean, but the thing is, in this huge, like you have that snap data.
Yeah.
You have a guy at 6'6" that is more expensive than Chase Edmonds, who just scored twice, and we know that Chase Edmonds is going to be highly rostered and highly owned. So you go Mostert as captain. It gives you so much wiggle room to be able to move around and grab other guys. So and like Mostert, like what if he just rips off 2 long touchdown runs?
Not out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, it's not likely, but it's not. Yeah, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. All right, so Mostert captain. I think you want to. It's gonna be 2.5. It's gonna be super low. I want if I'm doing that, I'm gonna go immediately because there is a correlation too with Mostert downhill as sort of the running, the lead running back. I want Chase. I want to double stack with Burrow, Chase, and probably T Higgins if I can afford to bring back Tyreek Hill. That's gonna be tough to figure out, right? Let's see who could. Who would be the 5th? Oh, you get Evan McPherson in.
I was gonna. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's roll.
Perfect.
All right, I'm gonna put that one in the big contest.
That's a good time.
All right, Chase Hill, Burrow. So you don't have Tua, but you have all kind of the big boys in play there. I don't hate that lineup at all.
Yeah, that's fun.
Like, I mean, look, if the Dolphins get a lead, or maybe Edmonds gets hurt. I mean, Raheem Mostert can have big games.
Yeah, I think that's not, again, and this is someone who I think we've talked about him going into the year, like fantasy wise. There is that rapport between him and Mike McDaniel. They're both coming over from San Francisco. I mean, it's not like this is some random guy. I mean, we've seen this.
He's had 60% of the snaps for the Dolphins.
When coaches come over, they bring their guys, and there's familiarity there. I mean, that's what happens.
Let's do one more captain. I picked the first 2. You pick one.
Well, let's do.
I did Mixon though, so you can. I mean, if you don't, I can pick somebody else.
No, that's fine. Maybe Jalen Waddle,
captain.
Yeah. You want to try Waddle? We'll see maybe what that looks like.
I think Waddle will be pretty low. Waddle captain. Let's see here. And like Waddle can go nuts, obviously.
Yeah.
I do think you want to pair him with Tua, probably, right?
Yep.
Tua in there. You bring back. You're assuming a high scoring game at that point. Or do you want to go down to Mostert and then
go down to Mostert and then I'm trying to see if I could pull it. Of course, it resetted the optimizer, but let's go to Mostert.
What about this? What about Waddle captain, Tua, Mostert, T Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Trent Sherfield?
Sure.
You just have to. If Tyreek Hill has like 3 touchdowns in the first quarter,
then you just
JBLS. You guys are really talking yourselves into the Mostert play. Yeah, we really are. I just changed a bigger lineup entry into. It probably won't work out.
We tend to do that. If you didn't follow us last year, we tend to get wonky and just
well, but I mean, like, I don't mind getting a little weird with some of these plays.
I mean, you got to diversify your lineups. If you're doing one lineup, maybe that's not.
You got to diversify your bonds.
Exactly.
All right. Let's get out of here. Good stuff. First time doing it. Good interaction. Maybe we're back Monday night. We'll see.
Love it.
Not back Sunday night.
No.
Monday night. Sully,
like that.
as always, a pleasure, buddy. For Sully, I'm Brinson. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you after the show, of course, when myself, Ryan Wilson, and John Breach wrap things up, breaking down everything that happened in Miami and Cincinnati, unless, of course, Raheem Mostert runs for 4 touchdowns, in which case, I'll see you later.
Then we're gone. And by the way, I'm on HQ.